So there was a little passage that came out from Kevin Seifert, who covers the NFL for ESPN, on the Minnesota Vikings, who I believe just inked J.J. McCarthy to his rookie deal. They got that done over the weekend. And just kind of looking back on what happened with the whole Kirk Cousins situation, and this is how it went. So according to Seifert, quote, Kevin O'Connell leveled with Kirk Cousins after the season. The Vikings' 3-6 record after his injury had exposed the dangers of not looking beyond a 36-year-old quarterback. With their best draft position in a decade, the team had decided to tap into a deep 2024 quarterback class and find its next starter. But no one, not ownership, not GM, not head coach Kevin O'Connell, wanted the rookie to play right away. Cousins would be their starter in 2024 and possibly longer. So Cousins heard that and decided,
I'm out of here.
Yeah. And then the Atlanta Falcons decided,
well, we probably look at you the same exact way, Kirk Cousins.
So basically, same.
And we're going to take a quarterback even earlier in the draft.
so basically, exact same situation. And I just wonder, from a hypothetically speaking, if you were in his spot, knowing if everything was on the table and you knew same situation, Minnesota and Atlanta, wouldn't you have just stayed in Minnesota?
If they would have given him $100 million guaranteed, yes.
That's the difference.
That was the difference.
Yeah, that's
they gave him a fully guaranteed deal the last time. This time he wasn't going to get that, and that was a sticking point. And he didn't necessarily get that in Atlanta either. It's not fully guaranteed, but the next 2 years are. I mean, if they want to move on from Kirk Cousins, okay, but the money-wise, it'd be very unwise to do it this year and then look Arthur Blank in the face and be like, dude, sorry, Michael Penix, we feel like is way better for us. It's like, well, you could have just drafted him and not paid him all my money. That was an option, right?
Well,
so, I mean, if they move on from Kirk Cousins in the next 2 years, that is going to be a significant cap hit, or you're paying a significant amount of money to a guy who's not starting for your team. That's a pricey insurance policy, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, listen, I think in terms of there was a time in football society where there was actually the thought process that a rookie, even if a high draft pick, even if a high profile guy, would actually come in, and I know this might sound crazy. I know this might throw a lot of people off, but they might sit.
No.
Hold on. They might sit their rookie year, and they might even sit their sophomore year in the National Football League to learn from the quarterback that was in front of them. There actually was a time where certain organizations did things that way. Players would actually sit, learn, get reps, mental reps, get reps in practice. It was interesting to me when I played, the guys that would get drafted, they were taking reps against the first team defense because they weren't starting. And so they're getting quality reps even though they're not playing in the game because they're running the scout team. Now, although not running the plays of our team, they were still getting the same reads, the same, you're getting what the defenses are going to run against you once you get in there as a quarterback. So there's a development aspect of this. If I'm Kirk Cousins, if I'm getting my money and I have a starting job and I'm not actually competing for a starting job, then I should be okay with this. You should be okay with this because in college, they're always recruiting a kid to come take that job. In the pros, they're always drafting a guy that they can get to take that job and take it for cheaper. Everybody knows that coming in. So there shouldn't be any real reason for any type of animosity or any type of malice or hard feelings. Just do your job and do it at a high level. That's all it really comes down to. They're always having to deal with someone who's coming for your job. That's generally how it works.
But do you think the fact that Minnesota was more upfront with him about it and told him the plan, maybe he looks at that and goes, because he in comments he had after the fact, it did seem like it bothered him. He's going to be a pro about it.
That's a different level of respect. if the organization tells you what they're doing, you had a different level of respect. Which who would argue the fact that he had familiarity in Minnesota? So there must have been an affinity for him as a person. They must have truly respected who he was and really wanted him to stay there and be a part of their team. Because the organization doesn't have to tell you what you're not Atlanta's franchise quarterback for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah,
they don't owe you any explanation. You know, you haven't earned that right in Atlanta yet. I mean, you're not. No, you know, no disrespect, but you're not a Patrick Mahomes. You're not a Tom Brady. You come in like, hey, Tom, you know, we just like for you to know, hey, Patrick, we would just like you to know, like, you're not on that level where they owe you an explanation. You're an employee. You're still an employee. You know,
I mean,
cookie crumbles sometimes.
Was Brady, when you were in Cleveland, did they tell you what the plan was going into your rookie year? Like, did they say Derek Anderson's going to be the starter, but there's going to be a competition, or was there just sort of, we'll figure it out, and once we get there, and you know, whoever we feel strongest about or whoever is there is going to be your guy? Or was it Charlie Fry who was the starter week 1 that year?
Well, I mean, Charlie Fry was the starter week 1. One of the conversations, I mean, they would have liked me to have is they were really hoping I could sit. I mean, back then that was more of the norm.
It was the norm.
And to LeVar's point, they wanted you to sit, they wanted you to watch, they wanted you to learn how guys ahead of you or play before you professionally prepared, and how they went about not only running the offense, right, which, you know, again, was more of the offense. You'd get there, and it was nothing like – it was more of like, can this guy fit into the offense we want to run? That was how scouting was kind of looked at. It wasn't looked at as, hey, what did this guy do in college? Let's basically run that offense. Let's cater towards everything like that.
Which would have been dope for guys like you. It would have been dope for a guy like me, because they damn sure didn't use me the way they used me in college. But go ahead.
So that was the frustrating part, is you're changing your drop, you're changing your grip, you're changing, you know, the tempo of the drops, how you're looking at things, how you're calling things. And so, you know, there's an adjustment period for sure. But that's what they wanted to do. They wanted you to basically take a redshirt year, you know, just to put it in college football terms. And, you know, from there, then you would understand once you got the season how teams prepare for you, how you prepare for teams, you know, how different it looks in game with adjustments that you make. A lot of people think, I heard this phrase the other day, you know, average coaches make adjustments in the offseason, good coaches make adjustments at halftime, great coaches make adjustments all the time.
Dang.
And
that's a great saying.
That's the NFL. Is your people who think you wait to halftime to come in and hit the chalkboard up or dry erase board. All right, boys, here's what we're gonna do. It's every single drive. I've been a part of game plans where that team's coming out doing something completely different, and you're like, yeah, we're tossing this. We're doing, remember, like week 2 install in training camp? That's what we're going to do. And we're going to do this, 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 and this. And you're like writing down a whole new script of plays. That happens. So it's learning all those things, because in college, I mean, and honestly, it could be as simple as, you know, I don't want to say what systems, but you hear a coach is talking about, well, we just want them to look towards like where the green grass is, you know, like look towards open space. And you're like, okay, that's not going to ever help this young man if he wants to play in the NFL. Like look to the open space.
Wait, are you saying there's no open space in the NFL?
It's not just that. It's just the fact that you don't have time to kind of just survey the field or not have an idea of who's going to win a route, because every throw, for the most part, is an anticipatory throw, meaning you're throwing before the guy's open. You're throwing before the guy is where he's supposed to be. So you better have a strong understanding of what his route is, what a route is, his route adjustment is, what the leverage is, and who's open, who's not, based on the covers that you're getting, pre-snap, post-snap. So it's just an entirely different game. It's why it takes a little bit for guys to be able to understand what they're seeing. Like I tell people all the time, the way the field's confined is different for quarterbacks. The hashes are so wide in college that you have a safety near a hash, it's most likely a split safety coverage. If it's in the NFL, it's flipped because the hashes are so much more narrow. So if there's a safety near a hash, you're thinking a little bit more post-side coverages. So it's just, and you're trained that way to look at the field for, you know, what checks the line of scrimmage, audibles, you know, whatever the coverage is, this is how we're trying to attack it. You know, you're trained and thinking all those things. So it's just an adjustment. But usually teams want you to sit out for your rookie year to then learn. And I think nowadays teams, and this is just my opinion, with the way the draft is now slotted, I think it has become easier for a team to run through a quarterback after 2 years, 3 years, and play him for relatively cheap compared to the old system when Sam Bradford got $50 million guaranteed before he threw a pass. You know, if you go look at the deals that are signed now, they're still not there. They're fully guaranteed 4-year deals with a fifth-year option. They are still not there to that. And I think they view it as, and by the way, the salary cap is, you know, this is, 12 years ago when Bradford had his deal. And so the salary cap has increased, obviously, since then. And they're still not reaching what his deal was as the number 1 overall pick. So they can basically throw a quarterback out there, 2-3 years doesn't work. We'll just throw another one in there. Let's go draft another. That's in essence what's happened now with the way the draft is slotted.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see which one of these guys gets the call first. I wonder. I know they're planning on McCarthy and Penix sitting this year, but I wonder if at some point one of those guys is going to get called into action. Because
which one y'all think is more like? I know we're up against it, but which one do y'all think is more likely to start this year?
McCarthy.
You think?
Yeah.
I think so too. I mean, unless there's an injury to Cousins, it's just the money.
Yeah, I think the money says it has to be McCarthy that gets the chance.
Yeah, but who knows?
But who knows?
Sam Darnold.
I mean, what if Michael Penix is lighting it up?
Yeah, if he comes in and just like sets the league on fire in the preseason, then I wonder
what that looks like.
Yeah, that's
I mean, he gets guaranteed. Cousins gets guaranteed money, but that money is guaranteed. So at the end of the day, he's on his rookie contract. I mean, it's a 2-year dip. If he wins it, like imagine if he actually
put himself
a 2-year dip. It put him in.
Hey, is it that 2-year dip?
That 2-year dip. Hey, you put him in there. I mean, Kurt, you got one hell of a backup.